Hello everyone, today is the day before Super Bowl Sunday, and tomorrow, oh my goodness, the Super Bowl starts off. It's going to be played at the Superdome in New Orleans, which is one of my all-time favorite vacation spots. Philadelphia Eagles versus Kansas City, and I'm excited about it, but I want to jump ahead of the game and I want to get some munchies started ahead of time that we can pull out right before the game starts. Now, when I cook food for a tailgate party, I've got three things in mind. Number one, it needs to taste good. Number two, there needs to be some nutrition there, some healthy food there. Number three, I want food that I already have in the house, in the cupboards or refrigerator, so I don't have to go out on a busy Saturday with all the traffic. So I don't have to go out to the stores and purchase anything. That way I save money and I use what we already have. So that's very important. Now, I just went grocery shopping the other day, so this shouldn't be a problem at all. Since I've got a whole bag of potatoes, potatoes are totally ideal for some really good munchies during the game. I've got 3 potatoes here on a baking sheet. I'm just going to brush them with olive oil, put them in the oven at 400 Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes. To the other side. These are yellow potatoes. I love these because the peelings are so tender. The yellow potatoes are my favorite. Okay, my husband loves russet for baked potatoes. We are going to make potato skins with just cheese and scallions. We're going to keep it simple. Pop those in the oven and they're good to go. In 30 minutes, I'll pull them out. I've got a can of pinto beans. Now, I've been craving some bean dip. I've got a bag of On the Border tortilla chips, so why not? I've got a recipe online that I just saw the other day, and I'm gonna pull that up and make pinto bean dip. But before I do that, I wanna make one other dip. I've got some shredded chicken, leftover shredded chicken from a whole chicken that I had cooked that we ate so much of it. Oh, it was so good. And I froze some of that also. So it's good to cook ahead of time and put dishes in the freezer and cook a large quantity at once. But that also, there's some leftovers from that in the refrigerator that I didn't put in the freezer. So I want to make a chicken dip, and my husband likes it too. It's buffalo chicken dip, but I don't want to use any cream cheese. It's on the fattening side. I like to go lighter, so sour cream comes to mind, and I'm going to check online and see what I can find and come up with something easy for that chicken dip. We're going to do that first. I already had shredded chicken in the refrigerator, so I just added some sour cream. And sour cream ranch dressing. And hot sauce, you can add as much as you like. And I mix that in. This is a real easy chicken dip. You don't need cream cheese to make chicken dip. Sour cream works just fine. And then I mixed in some cheese, some shredded sharp cheddar cheese. I mixed it in. And then I added some on top. So this was a real easy buffalo chicken dip with sour cream. And I got this idea from All Recipes. But I was able to skip this first step, which is to cook the chicken in the oven, the chicken breast in the oven, because the chicken was already done and shredded. And this is one of the appetizers we're going to have on Super Bowl Sunday. Pulled up a recipe for pinto bean dip on food.com. And this is what I'm going to be using. Here's a picture of it. Now, I don't have any peppers. They were not in the budget this month. So I won't be using any red pepper, but I believe I have everything else here, and I can use minced garlic. Looks like I have everything else. Yay! As I gathered these ingredients together, I noticed they are very healthy ingredients. Onion, celery, of course pinto beans, and oregano and cumin. That's not upside down, okay. Cumin, yeah. Minced garlic, and I've got another bottle because I'm running low on this. I've got it in the cupboard. Apple cider vinegar and lemon juice. These are very healthy ingredients. So this is going to be a healthy food, a healthy dip. Great. So I've got my can of pinto beans in a blender. I'm just going to blend it up. After I pureed my pinto beans in the blender, I put them in this bowl. I'm going to mix in the other ingredients. Now you can do everything in the blender if you like. I have an older blender, it doesn't work that well. I chose to put it into a bowl. I chopped up some onion and celery. It's almost minced, it's very finely chopped. I'll be adding that. And then I'm gonna add the garlic. I need to measure that out. So I added my chopped vegetables and my minced garlic. The recipe will have the exact measurements. I'm just going to add a little lemon juice, a little apple cider vinegar, a little cumin. My husband doesn't like too much. A little oregano flakes. Okay. And probably, yeah, salt and pepper to taste. So I'll have to taste this first, but we're going to mix this in and give it a good stir. This looks healthy. Wow. I did give the bean dip after I mixed it together really well. I gave it a taste test and it did need salt and pepper. It also needs a little sriracha in my opinion, and my husband loves sriracha. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that in there. Got to have a little red because I don't have the red pepper. But yes, normally people do like tomatoes or something like that, or something with tomato base or hot sauce in their bean dip. So I stirred that up really good, and let's give this a taste test. I'm going to grab my chips. Chip here. Okay. Give it a taste test. It's really good. I'm glad instead of using the food processor, I used the blender because it didn't puree it as much. And there were some beans that didn't get all the way pureed. And I like that. So there's still a few little whole beans or half beans in there. It's a mixture. It's kind of a chunky bean dip. And I really like it. Things I want to mention before I show you the presentation of the bean dip. If you have a large family or have a large crowd for your tailgate party, you might want to use 2 cans of pinto beans and double the recipe. So that's one thing. And the other thing I wanted to mention is you can put everything in the blender. You can follow the instructions on food.com for this. And I did it differently. So I don't always follow recipes to a T. So always check under the description for the recipes I give you, and you can follow the instructions and the measurements to get it just right. And I'm just going to put a little shredded cheese, and then some scallions, just to give it some beautiful variety of color there. And here's our second munchie for Super Bowl, when we're watching the Super Bowl game. Pinto bean dip with nachos. And I think this is beautiful looking, and my husband will love it. I'm sure he will. Our potatoes are done, and they've been cooling on a rack, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them into medallions. And then I placed them on a dish that you can either put in the oven at 350 to melt the cheese, or you can just put in the microwave. And you can do these ahead of time, stick it in the refrigerator. I'm going to go ahead and put the cheese on it ahead of time. There we go. than the scallions. Now, since they're just 2 of us, this should be plenty. And I just used 2 of the baked potatoes. I still have an extra baked potato. It's always good. If you're baking potatoes for an appetizer or something, it's always good to do extra. Then you can pull it out and you'll have it for another meal. Maybe do 2, 3, 4 extra baked potatoes, depending on your family size. So if you have a larger family than 2, I would go ahead. Actually, this would feed 3 probably, because you have other munchies. But if you have like 4, 5, 6 people, then you'll want to do the other potato. And here's our potato skin bites that you microwave before serving. You cover it up, microwave for about 30 seconds, and they can be served lukewarm also. Now it's time to work on a dessert that is bite-sized and easy and healthy. And I see these apples, and I'm thinking apple pie, something with apple pie, because that's all American. The Super Bowl's tomorrow, why not? But I want it to be bite-sized and eat very, very easy. So my idea is to cook a couple of these apples on the stove. And with the cooked apple, you put it on a cracker, like a Ritz cracker, but a different brand. So I found a recipe online, Stovetop Cinnamon Apples by Emily Bites. It's an online website, and I'll link her website under the description to this video. So I'll gather the ingredients together. Oh, wait. Since we're a family of 2, and this is a bite-sized dessert, I don't need 4 apples. So I'm going to cut this recipe in half. We're just using 2. If you want to make the whole recipe, you go for it if you have a larger family. Here are the simple ingredients we'll be using for our cooked apples. The star ingredient apples, a little cornstarch, butter, that's brown sugar down there, cinnamon, and water. Very simple. First thing I'm going to do is peel the apples. Now I've got them peeled. I need to chop them. I'm not going to slice them like the recipe says, because I want these to be real small for that bite-sized appetizer. Okay, we're going to melt some butter. Put a little bit of water in there. Okay, and that's going to melt very quickly. It's only half a tablespoon. Now we add our apples. Okay. Mix it around to coat. We got it on medium heat. I think I'm going to turn it down to low, in fact. Got it on low. I'm going to just mix the butter. There was a little water with that also, but the apples, as they cook, will produce a liquid. The apples around and coated with the butter, and we've got about 3 minutes to go. All right, I'm going to make a little cornstarch slur here. I'm going to stir that up. The apples have softened, and we're going to add that cornstarch slur and some brown sugar. Stir that in with the cornstarch. We add the cinnamon. Put a lid on it. It's the lowest heat. It's on low for 3 to 4 minutes. I think just 3 minutes, because these are chopped apples, very small. All right, the cooked apple is done, and I'm going to assemble it on the cracker. I'll show you what I'm going to do. Now, the cooked apples did not produce as much syrup as I thought they would produce. And so they're not sticking to the cracker as well as I'd like. So I'm going to use honey, and I've already tasted a cracker that had honey and the apple filling on it, and it was good with the honey. All right, so each cracker, I'm going to put honey on each cracker. Just a little bit on each cracker. I'm going to stir it. Whoops. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to spread it evenly on each cracker. Okay, go from there. All right, I've got 2 more to spread with the little butter knife. I didn't use but a couple little drops, you see. All right then. Now I'm going to grab a small spoon and start putting the topping on each cracker. And that way it adheres better because there's honey on each cracker. This is just a quick little snack or dessert to give you an apple pie flavor, to give you apple pie flavors that you might be craving. I know I am. I'm going to go ahead and finish that. Has anyone ever done this before, or am I just an oddball? I think it's probably the latter. But I was trying to find online, and it was suggested on AI, which is artificial intelligence, that people do this sometimes. So, but a lot of times they'll use canned apple pie filling. Of course, you wouldn't put much because those apples are in bigger slices. Yeah, you probably would just put a tiny little bit of that on the cracker. And that would, if it has more syrup than what these cooked apples had, then it would definitely adhere better to the cracker. All right, now we have a healthy topping. We've got enough sweetness going on here, so we're going to use I'll show you what topping we're going to use. All right, we have finely chopped walnuts, and we have a mixture of raisins and cranberries. So I'm going to start with the walnuts and just put a little topping on there. Okay, not much because it might fall off. I think toppings and garnishes can really, really make you healthy because you can use a lot of veggies, fruits, and nuts that provide nutrition, believe it or not. So the more healthy garnish you add, the more nutrition you're adding. Who doesn't like toppings? Because they make desserts or appetizers or entrees, they make them beautiful. So why not add them? Okay, we're done. And here's the snack dessert that is healthy and easy. The hardest part was peeling the apples and then cooking the apples, but that wasn't too bad at all. Assembling them was a lot of fun, and this is something, if you're craving apple pie and you don't want to make a full pie, or you don't have store-bought pie crust, then this is a good way to curb your appetite for apple pie. Thanks for hanging out in the kitchen with me today while I prepared munchies for Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to try one of these dessert snacks, apple pie filling. Very good. It curbs my sweet tooth and my craving for apple pie. Plus there's a little honey there, and you can't go wrong with honey. It's really good. These are pretty low in sugar. And the cracker was so easy. It was just so easy to put together. Like I said, the hardest part was peeling the apple. It was very easy and fun to do. All right then. I hope you all enjoy your weekend. Have fun watching the game. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you on the next one.